The death toll from a ship packed with African migrants that sank off the Tunisian coast this week raised to 46 after Tunisia recovered more bodies. According to the UN's refugee agency, illegal crossings from Tunisia to Europe jumped by more than 150% in January to April compared to the same period last year. A total of 53 people had set out on the boat aiming to reach Italy. Egypt will allow scheduled international flights and foreign tourists to some of its coastal areas that have been least affected by the COVID-19 disease starting from July the 1st. The government also decided to continue implementing the curfew from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Egypt closed its airports in March as part of its measures to curb the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. The Tunisian cabinet has endorsed a bill for amending Chapter 96 of the country's penal code, which was responsible for convicting thousands of public sector employees in a number of corruption cases related to the former regime. According to a number of members of Prime Minister Ilyes Fakhfakh's government, the amendment sets to liberate the powers of the administration. The opposition also backed the amendment, saying that it didn't mean that those who made mistakes would go unpunished. The law would still punish those who had exploited their relationship with the deposed Zain al-Abidine bin Ali regime. Italian authorities have recovered a stolen artwork by the British artist Banksy that was painted as a tribute to the victims of the 2015 terror attacks at the Bataclan Music Hall in Paris. Authorities in the central city of L'Aquila displayed the recovered artwork Thursday at a news conference. French officials last year announced that the theft of the piece, a black image appearing to depict a person mourning, that was painted on one of the Bataclan's emergency exit doors. A Japanese prosecutor urged the U.S. to extradite two Americans accused of helping Nissan's former chairman, Carlos Ghosn, flee the country while he was out on bail. Deputy Chief Prosecutor said Japan has issued arrest warrants for Michael and Peter Taylor for allegedly helping a criminal escape. Prosecutors said that Ghosn broke the law by violating bail conditions that required him to stay in Japan, mostly at his Tokyo home. The Lebanese pound changed hands at just under 5,000 to the dollar on a parallel market, four market participants said, defying government efforts to arrest a steep decline. The pound has now lost some 70% of its value since October, while Lebanon descended into a financial crisis. The government has continued to maintain an official peg of 1,507.5 pounds to the dollar for the import of wheat, fuel and medicine, as the price has slid on the parallel market. A Turkish court convicted an employee of the U.S. consulate in Istanbul of membership in an armed terror organization and sentenced him to 8 years and 9 months in prison. Metin Tubuz, a translator and assistant for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, has been jailed since 2017, accused of links to U.S.-based Turkish cleric Fethullah Gulen. The Turkish government blames Gulen for the 2016 coup attempt and considers his network to be a terrorist organization. Tubuz's arrest and subsequent prosecution had caused tensions between Ankara and Washington. Moscow confirmed willingness to hold comprehensive talks with Washington over the situation in Syria. During a video conference of the New York Council on Foreign Relations, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister said his country is interested in working with the United States to improve agreements aimed at preventing dangerous military incidents on the basis of experience gained in Syria. He said Moscow has more continuous and difficult issues rather than interferences for our common work with the U.S. on Syria. The United Nations said Libya's warring sides had begun to engage in a new round of ceasefire talks. The Government of National Accord (GNA) and the Libyan National Army have each met separately with UN negotiators. The mission is particularly concerned by reports of escalation and mobilization in and around the city of Sirte, the mission said in its statement announcing the talks were underway. Turkey's parliament approved a contentious government-proposed bill that will grant neighborhood watchman powers that are almost on par with the country's police force. The bill passed overnight with backing from President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's ruling party and its nationalist ally, despite opposition parties' concerns that the legislation empowers an underqualified force and will lead to human rights violations and a further erosion of freedoms. It was approved after days of tense debate that culminated in violence, with an opposition legislator saying he was punched by a lawmaker from the Nationalist Party. UAE's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and his Egyptian counterpart, Sameh Shoukry, have expressed concern over the developments in Libya and the ongoing fighting that undermines regional security and stability. This came during a telephone conversation they held on Wednesday as part of ongoing coordination between the two ministers. During the call, Sheikh Abdullah and Shoukry expressed condemnation to actions by armed groups supported by foreign forces to place civilian lives at risk, mainly in and around the Libyan city of Sirte. U.S. Special Representative for Iran Brian Hook has stressed that Washington is working to renew the arms embargo on Iran and would continue its maximum pressure campaign. Speaking to Brett D. Sheffer of the Heritage Foundation during an online session, Hook said his country has the right to ask for the renewal of the arms embargo. The ban on selling weapons to Iran is said to be progressively eased from October in accordance with U.S. Security Council Resolution 2231. Qatar has directed ministries and all other government and public entities to reduce costs for non-Qatari employees by 30% as of June the 1st, either via pay cuts or layoffs. A document also outlined other cuts affecting Qatari employees, including to benefits, which come as the world's top liquefied natural gas exporter feels the bite of a global coronavirus downturn that has stopped energy demand. Expatriates make up the majority of many Gulf states' populations, including in tiny Qatar, where the workforce of everything from its banks to airlines are filled out by foreign nationals. The United States and Iraq launched much-anticipated strategic talks that are to span the gamut of their bilateral relations, with Washington prioritizing the issue of the future of its forces in the country, while Baghdad is expected to focus on the nation's dire economic crisis. The talks, which began with an initial session in the afternoon with participants turning in online because of the coronavirus measures, are expected to drag out over several months. They come against the backdrop of soaring tensions following the U.S. airstrikes in January that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani just outside the Baghdad airport. At the police barracks at Dhaka's Gulson area in the diplomatic zone, members of the force began their day with yoga sessions. This new approach by the Diplomatic Security Division of Dhaka Metropolitan Police, DMP, aims to boost the mental health of the police force amid the coronavirus. Dressed in white t-shirts and black trousers, all members of the diplomatic division, from high-ranking officials to constables, take part in yoga sessions under the supervision of two professional trainers. Turkish warship prevented the EU's new naval mission enforcing the Libya arms embargo from checking a suspect freight off the war-torn country's coast. A Greek Navy ship working under Operation Aaron tried to check a cargo vessel off the Libyan coast on Wednesday, but was warned off by its Turkish military escort, according to media reports in Turkey and Greece. Petros Stano, Foreign Affairs spokesman for the EU, confirmed that the Iranian vessel had tried to hail a fighter, but the response was not affirmative and the inspection could not proceed.